Across the planet, UNESCO protects some of the most extraordinary places on Earth. Places like the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, Yellowstone in the United States, Machu Picchu in Peru, the Galapagos Islands, and even the pyramids of Egypt. Here in Canada, there are only 11 World Heritage Sites in total, and one of them is right here, Gros Morne National Park. Canada has nearly 50 national parks and reserves, from the Arctic tundra to the Atlantic fjords, but Gros Morne stands apart. A landscape so unique it was declared a World Heritage Site in 1987 for revealing the very structure of our planet. Ancient oceanic crust and Earth's mantle pushed right up to the surface. Despite that global recognition, Gros Morne ranks only as Canada's 19th most visited national park. It's nowhere near as crowded or commercialized as Banff, Jasper, or Pacific Rim, the big names that attract millions every year. And that might be its greatest secret. Here we found world-class scenery, open trails, and the kind of quiet you can't buy anywhere else. After comparing park data, travel costs, and our own experience on the ground, we can confidently say, Gros Morne is the best value national park in Canada. Fewer crowds, breathtaking geology, and reasonable prices for food and lodging, all wrapped up in one of the most underrated landscapes on Earth. This is Gros Morne, and this is why we came here. Most visitors fly into Deer Lake Regional Airport, the main gateway to Western Newfoundland. It's a small, friendly, and surprisingly efficient airport. The moment we landed from Toronto, we realized this felt like a completely different world, a better one. The Enterprise car rental counter was just steps from the baggage carousel. We picked up a small Nissan Kicks SUV for $600 for 6 days, parked about 30 meters from the door, quick and easy. About 30 minutes after landing, we were already at Foodland, a local grocery store, stocking up for the week. Prices weren't much higher than in Toronto, and the selection was solid. If you need anything else, Dollarama is right next door. Then we headed for Rocky Harbour, about 70 kilometers away. The drive was smooth and quiet, with very few cars and wide-open views of mountains and lakes, or ponds, as the locals call them. We knew right away we'd made the right choice. We stopped at the Gros Morne Visitor Centre to buy our park passes. The centre recently underwent a $12 million renovation, adding modern washrooms, expanded parking, and a beautiful new reception space with views of Gros Morne Mountain. It's the perfect first stop for orientation, maps, and advice on trails. A 1-year family pass for Gros Morne cost about $109, cheaper than buying 5 separate day passes. You must display your pass on the dashboard whenever you park anywhere in the park. We stayed at Alderbed Cottages, right on the water's edge, and honestly, we could probably make a whole separate video just about this place. It felt like a piece of art, thoughtful details, creativity, and craftsmanship everywhere. You can tell someone poured their heart into it. Rocky Harbour was the perfect base for exploring. Close to everything, with places to stay for every budget and a few cozy dining options. We cooked at the cottage, which was perfectly equipped. Just us, the wind and waves, and the best suppers after long hiking days. Western Brook Pond boat trip. We booked a few days ahead, watching the forecast. The 20-minute drive from Rocky Harbour to the parking lot is scenic the whole way. You'll need a Parks Canada day pass. From the lot, it's about 3 kilometers to the dock, or take a golf cart shuttle for around $10. We walked. It was so windy that we could feel the car rocking in the parking lot, the valley funnels, the gusts like a wind tunnel, but we were ready. Warm layers and waterproofs. The trail is flat, easy, and well-maintained, passing open bogs, ponds, and distant mountains. At the dock, there was already a huge lineup. 2 tour boats, about 70 and 90 passengers, somehow swallowed the crowd. We boarded last and stood, which actually gave us better views and more wind-in-your-face drama. Crossing the open water was a fight against gusts and waves. But once inside the fjord, the cliffs rose straight from the lake and the wind eased. Cliffs here rise nearly 600 meters, higher than Toronto's CN Tower, while the fjord is only about a kilometer wide. It feels like sailing through a stone canyon carved by ice. Waterfalls were everywhere, many turning to mist before they hit the lake. On windy days, you'll even see reverse waterfalls, spray blown uphill. We got drenched and loved it. We passed Tin Man Rock, a natural pinnacle that looks like a figure standing guard. In the early 1900s, a cliff collapse created a 30-meter wave, a reminder of the raw power at work here. Near the end, Pissing Mare Falls drops about 350 meters, 1,148 feet, among the highest in eastern North America. On the return, the crew played traditional Newfoundland music. Passengers clapped, sang, even played spoons. The music echoed off the walls. The perfect ending. On the way back to the car, we added a 1.8-kilometer side loop to the banks of Western Brook. And the start of Snug Harbour Trail, a fresh angle on the fjord. We arrived back at the parking lot tired but full of memories and positive emotions. Despite the non-stop wind, waves, and less than perfect weather, it was worth every minute. After a quick homemade supper, we drove about 10 minutes to Lobster Cove Head Lighthouse, built of cast iron back in 1897. The site includes the lightkeeper's house, a small shed, and short trails leading to rugged coastal lookouts. The lighthouse sits right on the cliff edge, red and white, classic, and incredibly photogenic. Don't skip the trails. You'll find viewing platforms with sweeping ocean views, and a rocky beach below with massive sculpted cliffs. Walk the beach to the right and you'll see a driftwood shelter, the perfect picnic spot. During whale season, you might even spot one from the viewing decks. At sunset, locals and visitors gather here as the sky glows over the ocean. It's one of those places worth pulling over for. Peaceful, wild, and timeless. Lobster Cove Head. Lighthouse is also a recognized federal heritage building, valued for its history, architecture, and connection to the coastal landscape. Come about an hour and a half before sunset. The light over the rocks and trails below is just beautiful. The next day was rainy and windy, but the wind here never really leaves. Sometimes it brings sun, sometimes rain, but it's always part of the Gros Morne experience. We couldn't just stay inside. We had to get out and do something, no matter the weather, rainy, cold, foggy, windy. With only 5 days in the park, we wanted to make every minute count. So we drove about 20 minutes to Southeast Brook Falls, short, easy, and beautiful. The trail is just 700 meters return, about 20 to 30 minutes, from a small parking lot with a washroom. It winds through balsam fir and white birch forest to the top of the falls, where the stream drops roughly 40 meters over a billion-year-old granite ridge. Even in bad weather, the falls were stunning. Mist, rain, and wind combined to make everything feel wild and alive. We met only 2 other people on the trail the entire time. Looking for something to do in bad weather, we drove about 30 minutes to Norris Point, a small, picturesque community of just over 600 people, located about 10 minutes from Rocky Harbour. Norris Point is a great base for exploring some of Gros Morne's more distant attractions, like Gros Morne Mountain and Western Brook Pond. In warmer weather, it's also a perfect place to rent a kayak and explore the calm waters of Bonne Bay. You can even take a water shuttle across Bonne Bay to the town of Woody Point, a short 15-minute boat ride that offers amazing views and saves nearly an hour of driving around the bay. Norris Point sits on the northern side of Bonne Bay and was named after one of its early settlers, Nettie Norris. It's also home to the Bonne Bay Aquarium and Research Station, a fascinating marine biology center operated by Memorial University. The public aquarium showcases the marine life of Western Newfoundland, from colorful sea stars and crabs to rare species like the blue lobster and the striped wolffish, affectionately nicknamed Ramus lupin. The staff are friendly, knowledgeable, and clearly passionate about what they do. You can explore on a self-guided tour or simply ask a staff member to share stories about the creatures and their research. There are even touch tanks, where visitors can gently interact with some of the animals. We learned that it takes a lobster about 8 years to grow just 1 pound. Think about that next time you're craving seafood. The lobster on your plate might actually be older than you. The aquariums are filled with fresh seawater pumped directly from Bonne Bay, and local fishermen supply many of the specimens, creating a real connection between science and community. On our way back home, we stopped at Jenny X's house, a genuine photographer's paradise with stunning views of Bonne Bay and the Tablelands. The house, built in 1926, is a beautifully restored traditional saltbox home filled with local artifacts and history. We took a short tour and learned about life in this area nearly a century ago. Outside, rosehip bushes were heavy with bright red berries, surprisingly tasty. When we stopped to take a closer look, the resident squirrel quickly appeared to remind us who really owns the place. It was the perfect final stop before heading home for lunch. After a homemade lunch in our cottage, using all the amenities and supplies we'd picked up in Deer Lake, we decided to explore more of Rocky Harbour. Since the creation of Gros Morne National Park in 1973, tourism has become a vital part of the local economy, bringing new jobs and opportunities. There are several hiking trails right in Rocky Harbour, and we explored a few of them during our stay. The Rocky Harbour Lookout Trail begins at the end of Main Street North, near the Lighthouse. It's a short 800-meter return trail, easy to hike, winding through a patch of forest before opening up to a lookout over the town and Bonne Bay. The spot was once used by locals to watch for returning fishing boats. Today, it's one of the best places to enjoy the spectacular sunsets that Rocky Harbour is famous for. We were rewarded with beautiful views, a cruise ship slowly departing Bonne Bay, and even a double rainbow stretching across the horizon, the perfect ending to another day in Gros Morne. From the Rocky Harbour Lookout Trail, we drove about 10 minutes to check out another local gem, the Salmon Point Trail. The trailhead is located at the end of Main Street South, just across Rocky Harbour. From here, you get impressive panoramic views of the mouth of Bonne Bay, a glacially carved fjord. It's one of the best places to watch the sunset over the Gulf of St. Lawrence at the far southern edge of town. You can park near the cemetery or drive a little farther up the hill to reach the trail entrance. It's a peaceful and easy walk, and I definitely recommend visiting, especially if you're staying in Rocky Harbour. After visiting Salmon Point, we stopped by the nearby pier and Harbour Seafoods, which was temporarily closed during our visit. According to local reviews, it's a great place to buy fresh seafood. When in season, something to look forward to next time. At the end of the pier, a lonely fisherman was quietly pulling mackerel from the water. Watching him, we couldn't help but regret not bringing our fishing rods with us this time. We drove back to the cottage, enjoying the last light over Rocky Harbour. The perfect end to the day. The forecast said 60% chance of rain. Wind and cold we can handle. Wind, cold, and rain together, less fun. We took our chances anyway and set out on Baker's Brook Falls, a 10-kilometer return. And we're so glad we did. The trailhead is about 10 minutes north of Rocky Harbour, just before the campground. There's a small lot and clear signage. The first kilometers are flat and easy, with boardwalks over boggy meadows, then mixed forest. The last stretch to the falls has wooden stairs down to a viewing platform. Continue 5 more minutes for a second viewpoint with no stairs. The river and falls are fast-moving, loud, powerful. We snacked on a bench and watched the water thunder by. On the way out, a spruce grouse walked right in front of us, calm as if leading the way. Maybe someone once fed it. Its diet changes seasonally. Conifer needles in winter, plants and berries in summer. Or maybe it was just tame? Either way, unforgettable parts of the trail were muddy, nature doing its thing. We added the short moose exclosure detour, a clear look at how browsing changes the forest, plus the little pond loop. Just as we finished, the rain finally started. We reached the car almost dry. Despite the rain in the forecast, we took our chances and did this hike, and it was totally worth it. After lunch, we had time for something short, so we climbed Berry Hill, The lot was empty, the trail starts gently, then gets steeper with stairs and rest benches short, but you'll feel it. In the Berry Hill campground, it's perfect for an after-dinner stroll or an early morning bird chorus. We passed wave-polished rocks from nearly 10,000 years ago. A reminder that Berry Hill was once an island when seas were higher after the last ice age. At the top, several viewpoints deliver spectacular vistas of the long-range mountains and the patchwork of forests, ponds, and bogs. There's a wooden platform with a bench. You can spot Berry Hill Pond, the trail toward Baker's Brook Falls, and distant peaks. Rocks can be slippery after rain. Stay behind the safety fences. Bring binoculars for moose. We didn't see any, but it felt like one could appear any moment. Short, sweet, mostly stairs, and incredibly rewarding. On the way home, we squeezed in one more easy stop, Berry Head Pond. A 2-kilometer loop, asphalt boardwalk packed ground, circles a lily pad-covered pond through woods that mix fresh growth and old, twisted trees. It's almost completely flat, perfect after a big day. Because most of the trail is forested, it's great for windy days, which we learned is most days in Newfoundland. The path crosses a small bog where caribou are sometimes seen, and pitcher plants, Newfoundland's floral emblem, grow in abundance. Short, peaceful, easy to reach, the perfect way to end the day. Cold, cloudy, and windy again, with bursts of sun. With 2 days left, we chose the Tablelands and saved Gros Morne Mountain for the last day. The forecast looked better. It's about a 1-hour scenic drive from rocky Harbour on well-maintained roads, with lookouts worth stopping for. The Tablelands are extraordinary, a place where you can walk on Earth's mantle, normally buried deep beneath the crust. Formed 500 million years ago and thrust upward when ancient continents collided to build the Appalachians and Pangaea, they've since eroded to expose today's barren, orange landscape. Even in the off-season, it was busy. A cruise ship in Bonne Bay likely helped. The Tablelands Trail is an easy 4 kilometers return on gravel and boardwalk. You don't come for a workout, you come to see the rocks. These orange, rust-colored stones are serpentinized peridotite, mantle rocks oxidizing in the open air. The soil is toxic to most plants, high iron, low nutrients, so the area looks like a moonscape despite the rain. Still, life persists, hardy pitcher plants in the gravel, tiny serpentine sandwort clinging to cracks. Some boulders carry a bluish-green crust from serpentinization, a reaction between water and mantle minerals. That same process occurs on Mars and may explain methane there. When water meets these rocks, it can produce hydrogen gas and conditions for microbial life. The Tablelands are one of the few places on Earth where scientists can study this up close. It's a rare blend of science, scenery, and photography. An open-air lab wrapped in some of Canada's most dramatic landscapes. Humbling to stand where the inside of the Earth meets the surface, with clues that reach all the way to Mars. We'd planned to hike Green Gardens, a 9-kilometer return to cliffs, sea stacks, and lush meadows, often paired with the Tablelands, but the wind was so strong at the trailhead that we called it. A vacation should be enjoyable, not a competition. See you next time, Green Gardens. Continuing past the Tablelands, we reached the small fishing town of Trout River. Historically centered on cod and lobster with some farming, it sits at the river's mouth, high cliffs and a sandy bay shaping a classic Newfoundland community. In 2014, 9 blue whales died after being trapped in Gulf of St. Lawrence sea ice, nearly 3% of the Northwest Atlantic population. In a rare turn, 2 carcasses washed ashore here and at Rocky Harbour, drawing worldwide attention and offering scientists an unprecedented research opportunity. Trout River itself is small, friendly, and beautifully situated, a hidden gem of cliffs and ocean views. Since wind kept us from Green Gardens, we hiked Eastern Point Trail instead, a shorter, easier alternative with surprisingly similar coastal views. It begins with about 145 steps up to a plateau of rolling meadows, then grassy path and boardwalks over boggy ground with frequent viewpoints. From the top, you see Trout River to the south and a craggy shoreline to the north. Spectacular. Some locals call it mini green gardens. All that scenery in under 2 kilometers. We parked on the left before the bridge, crossed on foot, and found the trail between a house and a garage by the info board. Under an hour, relaxed pace, one of our favorite short trails. On the way back, we stopped at the Trout River Pond day use area, where the 14-kilometer Trout River Pond Trail begins, but saved it for another trip. Heading back, we visited the Gros Morne National Park Discovery Center, lively with cruise ship passengers from a vessel anchored in Bonne Bay near Woody Point, a common tender port for small expedition ships. From the parking lot, we took the short Trappers Lookout Trail, approximately 330 meters. It's a quick, easy climb to excellent views over Bonne Bay and the Tablelands. Perfect for a stretch and a few photos before driving on. 5 minutes from the Discovery Center is Woody Point, a small, charming town of about 240 residents. Its downtown is a registered heritage district known for restored wooden buildings, salt box-style homes, and historic storefronts overlooking Bonne Bay. In summer, local shops, cafes, and galleries open to visitors. When cruise ships anchor in Bonne Bay, tenders ferry passengers to the Woody Point dock, where buses take them on park tours, a brief welcome buzz for this quiet community. On day 5, the weather finally cooperated. Partly cloudy, windy, and around 10 to 12 degrees Celsius, perfect hiking conditions. They say that if you can't see the summit of Gros Morne Mountain, you shouldn't attempt the climb. We could see it clearly, so no excuses. The parking lot was almost full, with early birds heading out to make the most of the daylight, the approach trail distance, 17 kilometers return. Estimated time, 6 to 8.5 hours. Some hikers take 9 to 12. We packed 3 liters of water per person, plenty of snacks, and layered clothing. The weather changes quickly with elevation. Good hiking boots are essential. We decided to do only the 9-kilometer return approach loop, fully aware we'd miss the summit views, but there is always next time. Even the shorter route was challenging and incredibly rewarding. A beautiful waterfall, shifting valley views, and the sense of climbing deeper into the mountains with every step. The trail begins on the approach path from the parking lot, a gentle incline, a few sets of stairs, and scenic stretches of waterfalls, marshes, and a flowing stream along Crow Gulch Brook. Once you reach the viewing platform at the base of Gros Morne Mountain, the easy part ends and the true climb begins. There are informational signs, a few benches, and even a washroom. A great place to rest before deciding whether to tackle the steep ascent. We took lots of photos, watched happy and very tired hikers returning from the summit, and promised each other, next time, we're going all the way. After spending about 30 minutes at the start of the ascent, we decided to turn back. On the way down, we were lucky again. A spruce grouse was sitting on a rock beside the trail, completely relaxed and not bothered by us at all. It took us about 4 hours in total, definitely the hardest hike we did on this trip. But even if you don't have the strength or conditions to reach the summit, the approach trail on its own is absolutely worth it. With daylight left, we stopped at Greenpoint, located between Rocky Harbour and the Western Brook Pond lot. Nearly 500 million years ago, these rocks were the floor of an ancient ocean. Here, geologists found the Cambrian Ordovician boundary fossils, making Greenpoint a global reference for Earth's timeline. A short walk leads to a cliff of layered sedimentary rock. A readable book of ancient seas and evolving life inside are trilobites and graptolites, hundreds of millions of years old. The contrast of softly folded layers and wild coast is beautiful and humbling go at low tide to see details safely up close. Often overlooked, Greenpoint is both scientifically crucial and highly photogenic. Towering cliffs, crashing waves, and sculpted strata. It's one of the reasons Gros Morne is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a place to walk through deep time, wrapped in raw ocean energy. About 10 minutes north of Greenpoint, toward the Western Brook Pond Road, you can visit the wreck of the steamship Ethie from 1919. In December of 1919, the coastal steamer was caught in a violent winter storm. Pushed by hurricane-force winds and heavy ice, the ship wrecked at Martin's Point, just north of what is now Gros Morne National Park. Amazingly, all 92 people on board survived, thanks to local residents who set up a rope and chair rescue system. Even a baby was pulled safely to shore inside a mailbag. Today, the rusted remains of the Ethie still lie scattered along the beach, a stark reminder of courage and survival against the North Atlantic. We parked in the small lot, walked down the stairs to the shore, and wandered among the rusted pieces of the ship, slowly being reclaimed by the sea. After 5 unforgettable days in Gros Morne, we realized it was not nearly enough. To truly explore this place, you need much more time than we originally imagined. Newfoundland feels different from anywhere else in Canada. It is wild, raw, and beautiful, shaped by the wind, the ocean, and the resilience of the people who live here. In our opinion, Gros Morne is not just a national park. It is one of the most underrated and unforgettable places in the entire country, a place that stays with you long after you leave. The next day, our flight was delayed by a few hours, but we did not mind at all. Deer Lake Airport was small, peaceful, and free of crowds, so the time passed quickly and comfortably. After days surrounded by mountains, ocean, and silence, we were not exactly eager to return to Toronto. Newfoundland had worked its quiet magic on us, and we knew we would be back.